Hello friends, my name is Oldman Cloud. I upload daily Bazaar gameplay videos to my YouTube channel. Off to a great start. Let's jump into another run. The aim of this run is to try to demonstrate how strong Electric Eels is as an item in the current meta, up against Bethesda Dually with all the bugs. So that's what I am trying to force as a build, but can't always happen, and also very open to other fun builds coming together.
I think that suits you beautifully.
This is kind of an interesting little start here. Obsidian Lighter can be very strong if you find ways to scale its burn. Got a pretty significant nerf with the fire skills being nerfed, and we don't see the lighter chap here, which is a bit of a shame. Still not a bad start though. So yeah, I think the meta read at the moment is that the strongest build and the most popular build is Bug Dually, or Bethesda Dually, and that is because it's such an easy build to get together. A lot of players have unlocked the prize pass pack now, and it's just too strong. I think it will almost certainly get nerfed. It really is just too strong. No great upgrades here. I think we take Grenade just because it very significantly increases its damage. And let's have a look. Temptation is to go Cure and try to find some burn options, but I'll take a gamble on a skill, and that could certainly be worse. Match up well against Mac. Don't match up so well against Vanessa. Just because against Mac, unless they found a way to buff their XP, one crit hit of Grenade would have done the job. Whereas we have a Seaweed Vanessa. It's greedy. The knee brace is greedy. Can we punish the greed? With the crit we should be able to now. Although their Seaweed's pretty nasty. But we reload and get there. Silver Grenade always super nasty early game. And especially a way to reload it. I pity anyone who comes up against that ghost early. So I think that... Let's have a small weapon. That's a decent get. The Electric Eels are probably the strongest item in the game at the moment, in my opinion, just because they match up so well against the meta. These are both fantastic. Both fantastic. Let's take Strength, I think. Match up so well against the meta at the moment, and in particular against Bug Dually. And is one of the only ways, I think, of consistently beating Bug Dually is with an Electric Eels build. Ideally paired up with Shipwreck and or Crow's Nest. That's my read of the current situation. For the time being though, happy playing this kind of spammy weapons Vanessa. The reloading Grenade will get us through the first few fights, I would hope, before falling off. Shark Claws gives us some good scaling, especially if we can get it upgraded. And our Obsidian Lighter is certainly doing work. It's in a pretty good place early, I'd say, here. Vanessa as a whole is still in a decent place in the meta, even though it gets blown out a little bit by Bug Dually, unfortunately. It does do very well against Mac, and there's still plenty of Macs going around. Can be a decent item. I'm just going to take the XP so that we get to level 3. Was looking for that one bit of bonus XP, and let's take some money to try to help with our econ. And let's put both of these down. I don't think we have 2 aquatic items, so we can put you there at least, but we can't give you another benefit. Unfortunately, our friendly pet rock is not aquatic. Dually. So is this someone who's trying to get their bugs build online? Bugs, 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 bugs. It's always bugs. And they got the companion core. They don't have... Oh, they do have the freeze bug. And it's enchanted. This is a cursed Dually build. Never have I wanted to win more. And we do, thankfully. So, yeah, this will transform. It's insane how early they can get this bug build online. That will become a very nasty late game build. But while we can, we take the wins against it early with our hyper aggro Vanessa. Let's buff our lighter, which is doing very well by us. And let's have a look for figurehead.
Those your hair look like seaweed. So cute.
Rowboat, not a bad shout. We need 5 unique types. It has aquatic vehicle, tool, apparel, weapon, so we'd be able to get its cooldown down. I think we grab that. And let's have a roll again, just hoping for a figurehead, which we don't see. Yeah, I just can't. Captain's Quarters seems just too bad to me, but maybe other people find a way to make that work. And let's go after Scout Trooper because we're so powerfully aggro, and we can keep our XP rate going. As Weapons Vanessa, you really want to be pushing your early aggro, the early aggro aspects of your build, which means taking on the tough fights so that you can increase your level more quickly and expand your board more quickly, thereby allowing you to be even more aggro. With that in mind, we hope for another fight, and we get it. Pretty sure we can take on the Outlands Dervish. So this is going quite well, even though there's no sign of the eels yet. But we do have some skills that synergize with eels, in particular train. So I'm hopeful that we can look to pick up some eels and demonstrate how good they are against Bugdooley, but we'll see how we go. We get to level 4 early, which is fantastic. Let's bring out the rowboat and put you next to probably Lighter and Shark Claws. Or do we want you next to Grenade and Shark Claws? It's probably better to be, although the Grenade can't go faster than the powder flask anyway. So we'll put you here for the time being, in which case we want... in which case that still means we can't put dive weights next to 2 aquatic, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. And we sell here, and compared to 10 crit, let's just get a terrible grappling hook on the field, just as another weapon that scales a bit. And let's definitely upgrade our Shark Claws. This is such a strong early game item. So we're really just playing kind of a good stuff build early. It's a great early weapon, good early weapon, decent kind of enabler for the rest of the build, good early weapon with the crit chance. So it's just kind of a good stuff build. And let's take a little bit of survivability here.
Unstoppable.
Given that we already reached level 4, so we get a bit of an extra advantage by taking a percentage-based health buff. And the reason for doing that is very directly against other Vanessas. So this looks like another aggressive Vanessa. With the Langzhong, I think we're favoured here. We might even get you before your Langzhong goes off. Didn't crit with the grenade, but doesn't matter. The more aggro you go as Vanessa, the better it feels at the moment. We got a good early aggro enchanted item, and then we picked up strength, which is probably the strongest early game skill. So it's working out quite nicely, although there's a lot of room for improvement, of course. Let's try to keep our econ in a decent spot and not spend too much. You're an interesting chap. Rocket launcher Vanessa? Maybe instead of, maybe something like this. Stick it to the left there. Get charged. Scale from Shark Claws. Yeah, this seems quite good to me. Seems to certainly be better than what we were running. Cool little pickup there. Don't know how it scales, having never played Dually, but I'll have a look at how Bazaar if it comes to it. Musket is a decent option, but we prefer quicker. It's not good enough to get rid of anything here, I think. Silver Grenade's still a bit of a menace, so we'll hold on to it.
Well, somehow I'll survive.
And let's go after Blood Reef. Has potential to give us Crow's Nest, which is a good fit with eels, which we still kind of have in mind as the endgame. We beat a Hexa, I'm pretty sure, because we're just too fast. In fact, so I think let's take the gold boss. Having just talked about how important it is to push XP as Weapons Vanessa, let's do just that. And I think we're just too fast for your poison regen build. Our rockets are hitting really hard. That was a cool pick up there. Multicast 3 rocket launcher combined with Shark Claw scaling and Strength scaling is a bit of a nasty one. You're interesting.
Rally men, blades to the
Benefit from burning, which we do quite often with lighter and rocket launcher. You haste our board. Haste the whole board and gain us some regen. I don't think just these burn items is enough to justify running Solar Farm. And I think the aggressive Vanessa build is just in a better place than kind of a burn-based Vanessa build at the moment. Not in a rush to sell it though. Let's hold on and see if we can do anything with it. And let's have a look for a fire skill. We don't see it, but right-handed can certainly be good. Submerge buffs us across the board, which is quite helpful. Right-handed I think is better though, especially if we put it on lighter, which is going off quite fast. So that's a pretty damaging lighter now. Let's just take some free health. Econ's looking pretty good. And I think having taken that free health, let's continue to press a bit of a health advantage here with fins. Gain some regen and some percentage-based health, with the purpose being to match up better against other aggressive Vanessas. Try to reduce the chance of us getting burst down before we can burst them down. This looks like a Weather Glass Vanessa, or Elemental Depth Charge Vanessa. I think that's going to be too slow against what we're putting out, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, way too slow. Way too slow. So, I've stumbled into another kind of very aggressive Vanessa build, but the pivot to eels is still potentially on, I hope. But we're getting some lucky draws here, which allow us to really press our level advantage. This is the advantage of putting together a really strong damage-based early game build, is that you can take on pretty much all comers with these extra fights and AI fights, and you start really pushing a bit of a level advantage against opponents. The grenade and powder flask combo is going to start to fall off. B. Don't think B can work with what we're doing. Some more gold is really good. Don't want to transform. Let's have a look at JJ. You're interesting but not with what we're doing. You're interesting but probably not. Trebuchet is interesting but probably not. Just takes up too much space. We're not really slowing other than a single skill, so I think that's a whiff. And let's... the temptation is to go after Preening Duelist for the skill, but I'm pretty sure we can take Scoville. We wouldn't mind some burn synergy with what we've got going on here, and he's worth pushing our XP lead, so let's try this. Pretty sure we should be fine. He's a nasty chap, especially the pickled peppers, but we should get in there. Just. Not an easy match by any means, but we just get in there. Would love the fire skill. Pickled peppers. Probably too slow for what we're doing. Synergy with... Let's get rid of the B. I mean, there's starting to be something here. There's a burn build here potentially. Pickled peppers is so slow but burns really hard with Obsidian Lighter and Rocket Launcher. We just have no skills to support it. I feel like weapons build is better for the time being, but let's certainly keep an eye on pivoting there. Let's take temporary boost to try to stay a bit ahead of what we're coming up against. Let's freeze the game. Hello? Hello. Let's exit to main menu. A few times when this has happened, I've lost my run. And I would really prefer not to lose this run, because it's cooking at the moment. Don't really have a choice though. We exit. Yeah. Okay, so the button says resume now. So I assume it's fine. but it briefly shows that ready up for a new run button. And I'm pretty sure if you mistakenly click on that too quickly, you just lose the run. But we're fine here. Okay. Let's have a look at medium and large. Let's take you for the docks event. Sniper pivot is not on the cards. None of this is interesting either. Would like to upgrade rocket launcher with a B1, B2. I think given the choice of a silver, we take Shark Claw's upgrade. Fits in perfectly with what we're doing, and it's just such a strong upgrade. Yeah, I think we're even up against another Vanessa. We've got the level advantage. We'll have an XP advantage almost certainly. We've got a bit of regen, so we match up pretty well against aggro Vanessa, and us ourselves are a very strong aggro Vanessa. They actually have a health advantage. No, we have a marginal health advantage. Monkey Katana build. It's cool. I love it. I think it might be a bit too slow against us. Monkey procs really heavily because it gets multicast from Card Tail, which is a super cool synergy. Then massively buffs the Katana, but it's just too slow. It's cool, but it's too slow. We're the destroyer of cool builds, unfortunately. Just an aggro Vanessa. With a rocket launcher though, which counts for something. At the moment we're using you just for your crit chance pretty much. So we could definitely replace our rock with something better. None of this though.
The Bazaar is not kind to the weaponless.
We're going to start falling off here.
Hope you packed a change of clothes, because you're gonna get dirty.
Nothing there. Crow's Nest. Fixer Upper. Crow's Nest. Crow's Nest, Crow's Nest, Crow's Nest. So now's when we decide, do we pivot to burn? I really don't think so. I think it's just doesn't fit with what we're going, doesn't fit with our skills. I think the burn dream is gone. Let's stick to our aggro build. Do we pick up a Crow's Nest with a potential future pivot in mind? I don't mind that. Don't mind the possibility of opening up the one weapon pivot in the future. So let's have and hold our Crow's Nest and let's continue taking on the toughest AI. I think we should still be okay even though we're falling off and even though this guy builds up a fair bit of regen. We scale so nicely with our Shark Claws, and the scaling on the rocket launcher in particular is really, really strong. They hit super hard now. I assume upgrading you upgrades your burn and damage. And let's keep an eye out for eels. We could try the eels pivot in this run.
Small things remind me of seeds. Acorns.
Nothing here, even though you're a vehicle, so you get your reduced cooldown, which is actually pretty juicy. Maybe we do run submersible here instead of this duo, which I think is falling out of favor a bit as the fights get a bit longer and enemies get a bit less susceptible to burst damage. So let's run submersible as a quick firing weapon that also gives us a little bit of survivability. I think we still provide charge to rocket launcher over submersible. And let's sell out of these. They served us well, but grenade falls off as the days go on. So that's fine. And I don't think anything here really fits either. So pretty happy with that. We're still at a really good place in terms of health. Let's take a look at burn skills.
You want to buy this before your enemy does.
That's pretty juicy. That's a lot of burn on... Well, we can put on either one. I think lighter actually benefits a bit more because it buffs its damage so much. You can make a case for either there, but I like buffing the lighter. Grenade is making another play for inclusion. Sure, a relatively minor buff to lighter, but this item's a bit of a menace now. And we're still just using our pet rock for its crit chance. That could certainly be replaced. A bit more survivability, which might help against a bursty Mac, but still overall our plan is just to kill them as quickly as possible.
If you knew
Especially with our rocket launchers that scale so well with Shark Claw. You're a regen merchant. So this will be a test. You're poisoned, so our shield is pretty irrelevant. But I feel like the Shark Claw scaling combined with Obsidian Lighter and rockets is just going to be too much. Look at how nasty these rockets are. And how nasty the lighter is. It's just all up a pretty nasty aggro build here, which might be able to get us the 10-piece before we start coming up against the broken Bethesda Dually build. Let's take our dock event, seeing as we invested in the star chart. Let's not forget we've got Crow's Nest in the bag for a potential pivot as well, which is a nice position to be in. You can give us some fun stuff. You're a great item with Crow's Nest. Weatherglass and Elemental Depth Charge don't work with what we're doing. Iceberg with Crow's Nest. Still don't think it's time to make the Crow's Nest pivot, and holding on to Iceberg in the bag with Crow's Nest and Star Chart is probably just a bit too greedy, even though we have a fair bit of money. So I think we leave it and let's pay for an expensive reroll in the hopes for something to change our life. This is a win condition for sure. We're burning quite a lot. It's just not, I feel this isn't particularly strong, to be honest, and it doesn't really fit with what we're doing, which is just pure burst. It's more a late game win con, and you probably want to be burning, freezing or poisoning a bit more often than what we are to justify it. So I think I'm going to stick with what we're doing at the moment. And let's continue taking on the toughest boss. I still think we're fine, even though this guy's plasma rifle scales insanely strongly. If we manage to beat him and grab plasma rifle, I'll definitely be finding a way to fit that into the build. Look at how fast that scales with the burn he's putting on. We take it, but that's a scary weapon. Let's try, hope we grab it. We do. Cool. So now the burn build is on, and we definitely play you instead of Submersible, and we definitely want you getting the charge instead of, or maybe as well as rocket launchers. Play it like this. We kind of, it's the Dually Vanessa build, kind of. Plasma rifle, this is going to scale insanely strongly. Even just going off once, I think it's going to do a huge amount of work. It doesn't super fit with kind of this super early burst damage build, but I think it's that bit of extra oomph will improve it a great deal, and it's going to scale a lot from lighter and rocket launchers combined. So I quite like that pickup. Not definitely interested in upgrading Rowboat, which takes you to charging adjacent items 2 seconds, which is really strong. Not interested in anything here. The spot to get rid of is Pet Rock. We could definitely bring something else in. I really want Cinders and B1, B2, but I think let's take B1, B2 and put an upgrade onto Rocket Launcher, which is a decent little buff given that it's going off 3 times. And let's take on a Dually. Bug Dually. Bethesda Dually. How strong are your bugs, Dually? Pretty strong. It's the meta Bug Dually with that minus the power gel, plus pretty busted skills. But look at how look at the damage the plasma rifle's doing even early. As long as it gets to go off once more, we'll be fine. One time? Yeah, it just gets there. So it feels a little slower, but it hits really, really hard. I think it helps us going into the late game as well, whereas without the plasma rifle we may have started to run out of steam a little bit. Not interested in upgrading any bronzes. The only one is our Pet Rock, which we want to replace with something else. Nothing here. And nothing here.
That's okay. It was nice to see you.
We have some mediums that we like. Temptation just to get more health, but let's have a look at your mediums. Nothing there. You're an interesting chap. We have a vehicle. We'd have to get rid of Shark Claws. Is Shark Claws not really what we're doing now? think
If it's not right for
something
you,
like
bring it
this.
back. I want you to be happy.
Something like this. Seems better. Perma hasting, or not quite perma hasting, but we'll probably get you there. These two items. Shark Claws, stronger earlier than later for sure, even though it can take you into the late game. Let's keep in the bag for the time being. Let's see how we do against a fellow burn merchant. There's some items here that could really help as well. But I feel like hasting these two has to be good. Just keeping an eye on it and considering whether I'd rather be hasting the rocket launcher. I think this is stronger. And we really want to be getting an extra second of haste on the captain's wheel. You're an interesting chap, but I think what we've got going is better. Oh baby. That has to be going on our plasma rifle. Double the damage, I assume. So that's going to scale like an absolute menace now. Okay, well, we haven't demonstrated the effectiveness of eels, but we are demonstrating the effectiveness of Obsidian Plasma Rifle in an aggro Vanessa build, which you probably didn't need me to tell you. I think we're now no longer on the cards is the Crow's Nest pivot, but I think it was still worth holding it in the bag to keep that pivot open to us for a little while. These are all interesting. All very interesting. Dive weights doesn't really fit, unfortunately. It still is probably better than Pet Rock, even if we can't get its cooldown reduced. Although 8 seconds is so slow and we've got other haste. We have to have better items than that we can slot in. Monkey? Still doesn't really do anything for us. I think that's a miss, unfortunately. We're really looking for an upgrade on Captain's Wheel. Not really looking for large, so let's do some digging. We've got the money for it.
Where shall we start?
You're a cool musket, but not what we're looking for. You're cool throwing knives, but... Do we take them just for the freeze? Freezing small items is really nice against Bug Dually. Give them a taste of their own medicine. You only have 3 ammo, but maybe that's enough. We'd be taking it just for the freeze. The damage is pretty irrelevant. Freeze 1 small item for 1 second, 3 times in the fight. Let's try to do better. Maybe that's a bit greedy. Coolant, I think, is better. You're an interesting chap, especially at Diamond. Just don't fit in with the build we're doing. Coolant is really strong though.
Hey, you're a natural at this.
We take Coolant for both its defensive properties and getting rid of our half our burn, which can be quite strong, even though burn's not massively in the meta at the moment, and also for its freezing properties. What an interesting build. We're more dually than we are. We're more machine than human, but I think we're very strong. Kind of a plasma rifle build, really. We can get burst down by more aggro builds. Just when I've said burn really isn't in the meta, we come up against a burn Vanessa. So Coolant has to place us in very good stead here, I would hope. And Plasma Rifle, Obsidian Plasma Rifle is going to be doing work here. Going to be doing a lot of work. Nasty. Eesh. The enchantment massively helped, but even without the enchantment, it's nasty. This is such a cool Vanessa build. How did we stumble into this? Let's have a look at your gold tier items. Don't really want anything there. You're tempting, but I think with how we've got the build set up, the base weapon bonus isn't actually, the base damage bonus isn't actually that important because we win by massive scaling on our plasma rifle now. Let's absolutely take the temporary boost though. Let's do everything we can to get across the line with a perfect victory, and let's take on weapons platform. Some good stuff here. Check out the plasma rifle here though. We may lose, actually. We do lose. I was way too confident. The breakpoints just didn't work well with the plasma rifle. Not too upset by that loss. Would have liked what they were offering up there, but I feel like we already had a bit of an XP advantage, so that just kind of brings us back to where a lot of other people would be. It's a little bit of a reality check. We have no real survivability. I still think we're really well placed. Let's take a look at Vanessa's skills rather than weapon skills.
I'll help you, but don't expect me to go back.
That's pretty good. Even though rowboats are only... Oh, you've dropped down. That's why we're worse. Our rowboat has dropped down in effectiveness because we no longer have 5 tags. That's actually really bad. We probably need to play something other than coolant, actually, to get your cooldown back down. That's why we did so much worse in that last fight. Let's pick up Crashing Waves for the time being, and let's look for a way to get your cooldown reduced because it's so massive. Take Insect Wing and put it on Plasma Rifle. But what we really want is a small item with a tag we don't have, so that rowboat can go back to being effective. Even that being said though, I think we just have to have a look at Skills Merchant at this point. Nothing there. Extra damage on the light is not bad. I think that's better than the other options. So yeah, we've significantly decreased the effectiveness of our build, unfortunately. And there's not much we can do about it at the moment. So we might have thrown, maybe, seeing as we really need to win early, but let's see how we go. The rowboat charging half as often is really rough. And we haven't managed to scale our Captain's Will yet. Ray Julie. These aren't bugs, what are you doing, buddy? Let's see how we go. Whatever they're nasty, there's no doubt about that. Are we going to get in the hit we need? Oh, look at how close it is. That must have been one tick that we lost by. I really thought we had that. So if we hadn't ruined our own rowboat, we would have won that. So that's a bit disappointing, but we have no one to blame but ourselves. Let's try to fix this situation. Some of these will give us the tag we want, but they're just not good enough. Same situation here.
Maybe you're not cut out for business.
Ah, it hurts. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. No one to blame but myself, but it still hurts. Good disruption. At the moment, we're looking to run more than 5 items, so let's take the disruption. It is quite slow, the plasma rifle. Let's try Void Colossus. Although if you destroy our plasma rifle, we probably lose. But if we destroy anything else, if you destroy anything else first, I think we're fine. So let's just try our luck here. Yeah, we really need rowboat to be going faster than it is. Don't destroy plasma rifle. Curse you. With my dying breath, I curse Void Colossus. Unfortunate. I think that was a 1 in 6 to lose that pretty much, because all we needed was one more hit from the plasma rifle, but we lose. That's the last 2 AI fights we've lost. It's falling apart. It's all falling apart, and it's in part due to misplays. Let's try. Still looking for some mediums. Really want a Captain's Wheel upgrade at the very least. Not you. You're not coming back on the team. For the time being, Star Chart may actually be better because it reduces cooldown by 15% on adjacent items. But we'll look for a way to get rowboat back on the field. Suddenly the build's looking a little scuffed. We'll take temporary boost. I have a feeling we're falling off at 8 wins. Upgrade our silver tier item. It's a good get. We'll definitely be putting you on you. Now we're coming up against the bugs. Bugs. I think we're too slow against bugs. I set out to demonstrate that you can counter bugs by electric eels. Instead, I'm going to demonstrate how Weapons Vanessa can get dominated by bugs. I have a bad feeling. Curse this beetle. Such nonsense, isn't it? Look at this garbage. Wish I had my eels. This build needs to get a bug fix sooner rather than later. Puts us onto lethal. Oh no, not quite. How do we get over the line here? We can pivot massively to... I mean, we have to take the enchant even though everything's a bit underwhelming. We could pivot to eels if we pick them up. I think our current build has very little chance of getting us over the line.
Me?
Don't even really know what I'm looking for here. Maybe belt.
You don't like my armor?
Pivot to eels if we see them. Let's try our luck against Archon. I have a feeling we might be about to lose our third AI fight in a row, so we have crashed out. At least crashing out at 8 wins is fine though. The build has kind of done its job already. Spaceship could save our life if we get there. It's a big if. Crit one time. Oh god. Oh no! We were 20% crit. We were a couple of ticks away. Cursed. What a cursed run. Let's try to find a decent item to use. We could use... Oh no, we already have steel. Already have tools, so honing steel doesn't do it. Nothing there is worth playing. We're crashing out, brothers. Let's put some burn onto lighter. Has quite a strong impact still. We just hope we run up against Vanessas who are worse than us now, having lost 3 AI fights in a row. This doesn't look like one of those Vanessas. Not at all. They also bonk us. It's a shieldy depth charge Vanessa. Do you reload your depth charge, brother? You do with your skill. It's a little slow, but we don't have much in the way of defenses. And our cannon is so slow. So they are going to beat us, unfortunately. How do we... Oh, that was such a pathetic hit with the obsidian plasma rifle. The build's chance was early. The build's chance was early to just crawl over the line to 10 wins. Poison, can anything help us here? Let's poison our wheel. Maybe we should have just gone random enchant and hoped for shiny. 2 poison. It's going to change the game, my friends.
The crew won't see me bleed.
8 wins with this build is probably about right, to be honest.
Recycle.
And we had a couple of kind of throws in there as well, so can't complain too much. Our lighter's looking pretty powerful though.
While you're doing your part to clean up.
We've also just had this money sitting in our bag for so long, not doing anything.
20 years waiting for you.
Alright. The obsidian plasma rifle is now just not strong enough to carry us anyway. But in for a penny, in for a pound.
Ooh, the keen of the blade. The
It's a significant buff. Very significant buff.
Are tools weapons? Well,
Nothing
that's
here.
up to you.
Lighter, sure.
Hey, I use that brand myself.
Weather glass, it's a bit too late, I think. We burn, we poison, we don't freeze, and we don't slow. Oh, we do freeze. You buff our... Yeah, maybe it's weather glass, a weird
I
weather
saved
glass
that one from
pivot.
Curio's junkyard. Cleaned
I
up
think
real
you're still in the
nice.
right spot. Yeah, sure. I don't have high hopes for this, needless to say, but I think that pivot was decent. Let's go for, is this 5 AI fight losses in a row? I think your ship has sailed, fittingly. Let's go for another AI loss. Keep the streak going. That's could be worse, I suppose. The bigger fear is your Caltrops. Yep, another AI loss fight. What a throw. I honestly thought we might be okay there, because we hit hard but relatively slow with plasma rifle, but still too nasty.
Imagine the wonders waiting for
Not
us.
even sure what I want here. Probably doesn't matter too much, really. Let's take you and increase our freeze duration.
These things behind.
What a weird build we got here. It's too late to save our XP life. I think we're probably just at too low a level from having thrown... Oh, God. Oh, no. Bugs, 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 bugs. Legend Dually, you know it's Bug Dually, and we just lose because it insta-freezes us.
But I've seen my
So,
share.
fun run. Don't know whether I'll upload it. It's probably borderline in terms of whether it's worth uploading or not. But kind of fun. Not every day you get to play with this beefy plasma rifle as Vanessa, but we made a couple of mistakes early on, and they kind of compounded because we just needed to sneak in 2 wins early before we started running up against this nonsense. So the quest to demonstrate how good electric eels are in this meta goes on, but at least in the meantime we're putting together some fun runs and climbing rank. Subscribe if you enjoyed the run and want to see more. I upload daily Bazaar gameplay videos, and I'll see you next time.